Yo, 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 here we go, man. Let me plug the joint right quick. Does non sexual intimacy really cause issues? Again, does non sexual intimacy really cause issues? Now, let me say this because I don't want people to get it confused. I don't want people to get it confused. There is nothing wrong with non sexual intimacy and non sexual affection. And there is nothing wrong with spending non sexual time with certain women. And I capitalize in bold and underlined certain women. Not every woman is going to deserve access to you non sexually. Not every woman you meet deserves that type of access. Hell, not every woman you encounter that you were initially attracted to is worthy of your dick, let alone non sexual affection and intimacy. I want guys to understand something. When we talk about non sexual intimacy, what is that? What does that look like? In a nutshell, this can include physical touch, like cuddling. For all you guys that like to spend the night with chicks that you just met, y'all be pillow talking, that shit. This can include physical touch, like cuddling, holding hands, or hugging, as well as emotional and intellectual connection through sharing feelings, ideas, and experience. In short, non-sexual intimacy, is something that occurs that does not involve any type of sexual activity at all. Purely non-sexual. Right? Now, I mean, it can occur before or after sex, but what I'm saying is non-sexual intimacy stands on its own. It is not a part of the physical act of sex. That's something completely different when we talk about physical intimacy, right? Let me plug the joint. Does non-sexual intimacy really cause issues? If you don't know what you're doing and or you're doing it on purpose, yes, it will cause issues. What do I mean by that? Right? I'm sure some of you have heard of love bombing. You heard of love bombing. Essentially, love bombing is guys introducing non-sexual intimacy and affection on purpose, right? They don't really mean it, but they understand the potency of it, right? And they understand how every woman covets that. Look, let me tell y'all something. Every woman, every single woman covets non-sexual intimacy and affection. Period. Every single woman. And they don't have to be sexually attracted to you to try and extract it from you. Right? We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that. Right? So again, when we talk about non-sexual intimacy, some guys introduce it on purpose. So basically, guys who pretend to care more about a woman than they actually do. Okay, these are deceivers, manipulators, liars, right? Guys who think they're players, but they're not players, right? They're just liars, right? They're cowardly. They don't know how to get women to submit sexually on some straight up type shit. You know what I'm saying? All they know is deceit and manipulation. Now, what also happens with most guys is you haphazardly and or inadvertently introduce non-sexual intimacy, meaning you're doing things like this right here, right there, and some more shit, and you don't understand that you're causing yourself an issue, right? It's about to be a detriment to you. Now, let me just tell you this before I continue. You guys should not be introducing non-sexual intimacy or affection until you have already ascertained that that woman is somebody you don't mind dating. I didn't say fucking. I said dating. Dating involves spending time together outside of fucking. So if you have not identified that that woman is someone you would like to date, and I'm not saying you have to be in a serious relationship with them, I'm not implying that. What I'm telling you is if that woman is someone that you do not want to date, why are you doing this shit? All of this. You shouldn't be doing none of that. None of that should be happening. Even in the very beginning, though, when you very first meet women, why are you sharing your philosophies and ideologies? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Right? Because what you're doing inadvertently is you're giving women the impression that you're trying to um, get them to know you. Hold on, real quick. Excuse me. You're giving them the impression that you're basically sharing that information because you want them to know you, and therefore you want to get to know them. Many women are going to interpret that, right, as you want to date them. And even if they know better than to interpret it that way, in many cases, they're going to have plausible deniability and they're going to pretend that they don't know what's going on. Well, I thought you wanted to date me and get to know me. I was under the assumption because we went out multiple times and we shared very intimate details of our lives that we were, basically building towards something, right? That a woman can play that role, although she may know better. I'm not saying all women are going to play with you like that, but a good number of them will, right? Does non-sexual intimacy really cause issues? Let me also say this, scrolling at the bottom. Sex is not the precursor to relationships. Non-sexual intimacy and affection are, and women know this. Again, sex is not the precursor to relationships. Non-sexual intimacy and and affection are, and women know this. Allow me to illustrate my point. Allow me to prove it to you that women know this. I'm going to introduce Exhibit A, friend zone. What is the friend zone? The friend zone is also the non-sexual attraction zone without the promise of romantic and or sexual involvement. So for all you guys who have ever been in the friend zone, if you're currently in the friend zone, right? And if you are a lame motherfucker who don't love himself with no game, you will end up in the friend zone. Let me tell you what you are the equivalent of. You are the Renfields of dating. The Renfields, right? You remember Dracula and his tortured aide, the guy who ate all the bugs and shit, who was kind of crazy? Renfield. You guys are the Renfields of dating, right? Right? And what I mean by that is this. See, the woman never turns you. See, you think about Renfield. Dracula never turned him. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Dracula took nibbles. Dracula extracted just enough resources to provide himself substance. That's what Dracula did. Dracula said, no, no, I'm not going to turn you. You're no good if I turn you. Meaning, in the case of you friend zone motherfuckers, you're no good if I date you romantically or sexually. You're no good to me there. No, no, no. I need you to be over here. I need to take nibbles and bits from you ever so often. Right? See, the women never turn you. They take just enough to keep you in place. Does non-sexual intimacy really cause issues? Further proof that sex is not the precursor to relationships. Non-sexual intimacy and affection are, and women know this. What do women tell some of you guys? Oh, I'm practicing abstinence. Oh, we got to be friends first. We got to get to know each other. We have to date first. Let me tell you what they're really doing. What they're really doing is trying to get to the best part of you first. Oh, yeah. You didn't know that? Right? Or what they believe is the best part of you. Because women know that the best part of a man is not his dick. Just like a real man knows. Now, there's a lot of suckers and simps out there, right? And tricks. But a man knows that the real value of a woman is not her pussy. which is why I say the lowest form of investment is sex. And women know this. Women who say they practice abstinence, they know this. Women who act like they got to date you or get to know you over an extended period of time, they know that sex is the lowest form of investment too. What they're really trying to do is play reverse psychology on you goofies. What they're really trying to do, see what they're doing is they understand that there's a certain segment of men that think having sex with attractive women is valuable. So what they've convinced you lames of is that non-sexual intimacy and sex are like this, and that they can be negotiated. That sex and non-sexual intimacy, right? Physical intimacy and non-sexual intimacy, your desire for physical intimacy and her desire for non-sexual intimacy, a lot of women think that can be bargained for or negotiated with, and they're using sex as a tool to do so, which is why they'll tell you they're practicing abstinence. And all they're really trying to do, they're trying to get you to move sex to the side and give them what they ultimately really want. And that's access to your non-sexual intimacy and affection. They want to feel like they're being dated by you. So they're going to move sex out the way because they know you hold it in high regard, right? Or in some cases they think you do. Now, some women who are game goofy, they're going to overplay their hand, right? And they're going to tell you that they're practicing abstinence, or they're going to give you this misleading impression that sex is this super sacred thing and it's this super valuable thing, and that you have to spend time with her, right? Giving her all of your value, which is non-sexual intimacy and affection, and that she will eventually exchange her value, which is her vagina, which is actually pretty fucking worthless. And I mean that respectfully. It is. Outside of you pushing a baby out that motherfucker, a vagina really has no fucking value, right? I'm just letting you know, right? Right. To me, y'all can think whatever y'all want to think. That's just my personal view. Does non-sexual intimacy really cause issues? When you are introducing it to a woman who hasn't earned it. If you know that sex is the lowest form of investment, right, guys? And if you know that women covet non-sexual intimacy and affection just as much, if not more so than sex, and I would say they covet non-sexual intimacy and affection more than sex in a lot of cases. If you know they covet it and they hold it in such high regard, why would you just give it to them in exchange for sex? Why? Why? If you know that sex is not the precursor to relationships, non-sexual intimacy and affection are, and women know this, why would you give women access to you that's only reserved for the women that you have already identified as a potential girlfriend? Why would you give them that energy up front when you haven't even fucked them yet? That's backwards. Guys, stop doing dumb shit. Stop letting these women gas y'all, calling you handsome, right? They talk a little bit of sex with you. They act like they want to see you, but nothing ever happens, right? Because they're trying to extract non-sexual intimacy. Look, and in some cases, I'm gonna tell you how cold the game is. In some cases, the non-sexual intimacy they're extracting from you guys doesn't even involve any type of touching. Because sometimes you guys want to hold their hands. Nope, they won't let you. Sometimes you want to hug up on them. You want them to sit on your lap and whatnot. They ain't gonna let you do that. But you know what they will do? They will share feelings, ideas, and experience with you. They'll call you up and tell you about their day at work. They'll tell you about the argument with their best friend. Right? Guys, if you allow women to, they will extract. They will extract. They will bring nothing and extract. They will bring nothing and extract. They will bring nothing and extract. So if a woman wants to be a part of your life, what is she bringing while she's attempting to extract? What is she bringing while she's attempting to extract. Anytime a woman wants you to spend time with her on the phone, texting, on an app, out in public somewhere, but she always is reluctant or resistant to spending time with you, where it's just y'all two under your roof, hers or a hotel, that tells you everything you need to know. All she is doing is extracting and bringing nothing. Let me just say this as well. For you guys that like to bite lines and steal shit, when you tell women, I want to get to know you in a more intimate way, do you not understand that there is a such thing as non-sexual intimacy? So when you tell women, I want to get to know you in a more intimate way, and they show up at your house, but they don't fuck, you said intimate, right? When you're scared, when you're passive, when you're vague with how you speak, a woman can interpret what you say in a myriad of ways, right? So when you say, I want to get to know you in a more intimate way, if she is sexually attracted to you, she's going to interpret it as he wants to give me some dick and I'm going to take it. When she is not sexually attracted to you, she's going to interpret it as, oh, I thought you just wanted to hang out and spend some time talking. All because you failed to identify whether or not she's attracted to you sexually. It's not the woman's job to tell you or to show you she is. It's your job to find out. Does non-sexual intimacy really cause issues? When you're introducing it to gain access to the sex, yes. And when you're introducing it to maintain access to the sex, yes. All it does is it creates drama and confusion in your situations. That's all that it does. When you introduce this shit and you're dealing with a woman you really don't want to date. Also, when you introduce this shit, the sex you guys are having, it becomes tied to all the cuddling, hugging, holding hands, and the sharing of feelings. It becomes intertwined. So now you can never go to her and say, I just want to have sex and that's it. No, once you start introducing non sexual intimacy and affection, you've boxed yourself into a corner. Peace.